Easiest decision you have to make. Justin Herbert. They have great skill players, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. They got another offensive lineman to go with your Rashawn Slater from a year ago and Zion Johnson. He is a superstar in the making. He's the best player in football, and he will easily be the league MVP.
Yes. I don't know anyone who loves anything or anyone the way Mike Tannenbaum loves Justin Herbert.
Football.
But he was right. I mean, at the end of the day, he was the one guy leading into that draft who was banging the drum, take him ahead of Tua. Yeah. And at least for this moment, it looks like that was right. We'll see if he's right on this one as well. Meanwhile, speaking of bold predictions, on ESPN.com, our colleague Bill Barnwell gave one. He said Trey Lance could be the MVP this year. He wrote, one player who barely played last season but might be an MVP candidate is Lance, as was the case with Patrick Mahomes. Projecting Lance to be a superstar in year 2 is about both the player and what's around him. Lance is the perfect fit for Shanahan, whose best quarterback as an offensive play caller has been Matt Ryan. Lance is about to have a special season. So, where will I start? Canty, I'll start with you.
Yep.
Graziano does his bit, overreaction or not. Is that an overreaction to what we should expect on Trey Lance this year?
No, it's not an overreaction, and even
MVP caliber season.
Yeah, I think that's what we can expect from Trey Lance. And I know you guys left me out of the bold prediction, but my bold prediction for this season is that the 49ers will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. That's how confident I am in this 49ers team and the development of Trey Lance because of who's doing it, Kyle Shanahan, and what's around him, the supporting cast. You're talking about a top 5 run game, a top 5 skill position core, and a top 5 defense. All the elements are there for Trey Lance to be successful, and the thing that Trey Lance brings is a couple of new dimensions to the offense. The vertical passing game, we saw that in the preseason game with the bomb he threw to Danny Gray, and then the quarterback as a focal point of the running game. Kyle Shanahan hasn't had either one of those things since he got to San Francisco. So now you're talking about giving one of the best play callers, one of the most creative play designers, a weapon like this under center to go along with all the other weapons he has. Look out for the rest of the NFL. The 49ers are about to show up in a big way.
So there's so many things about what you said that I completely agree with. But he came out in the first draft that I ever hosted. So I've never studied anything like I studied him. Yep. To be clear, because most people have not seen him play because of where he went to college and the fact that he didn't play last year. The skill set is off the charts. Josh Allen is the one everyone compares him to. Size, arm strength, all the rest of that. But he played very little college football, extraordinarily little, including the fact that his team scheduled one game his final year because of the COVID situation, just so he could get a showcase. Sacho, does that make this premature? I guess not that he will ultimately be great, but that this year it's just too much to ask.
No, not even close. And Greeny, you covered the draft, so you got a chance to watch some of his tape from college. Even though it wasn't extensive, all he did was win. Even in college at the FCS level, all he did was win. He came to the NFL and he took his time, got a couple reps last year, played in 2 games, started 2 games, and he found ways to win. And then in the preseason, he's gotten better and better and better. What stood out to me the most was in that preseason game, not the throw to Danny Gray, but that second play of the game where there was pressure and he tucked it and he ran, even though his eyes were still down the field. That's a dynamic that Kyle Shanahan hasn't had really since RG3 when he's offensive coordinator. And so for in Washington. And so for me, you have a quarterback who has this skill set that an offensive coordinator like Kyle Shanahan loves. And so I think it's by no means a far-fetched estimation to say that Trey Lance could be an MVP.
Mike T, give me a quick thought.
Yeah, I think it's a work in progress. Peter King wrote it yesterday. He's only thrown 389 passes since high school. I love him long-term, but the quarterback position's a developmental position. Guys like Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, they struggled early. I don't think he's an MVP candidate this year, but I love him long-term.
Graziano, final word.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle's betting on himself here, right? RG3 was Offensive Rookie of the Year that year that he had him in Washington. And by the way, at the same time, he was also developing Kirk Cousins into a real NFL starter who was a rookie at that time, too. So, yeah, I think they have a good enough group around him that they think they can have a good team. And if that's the case and he performs well, it's not far-fetched. I think it's more down the road with Trey Lance than this year.
We will see.
MVP.
It's going to be fascinating to watch. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.